It's Hatchpod time. Maya Acosta joined today by Greg Garrett and Corey Costello, and we have a special guest, Richard Chapman, President and CEO of the Kern Economic Development Corporation. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me up here. Beautiful weather. Sorry I missed the Apple Festival.
Yeah, next year. It's always next year, right? But I think you're a busy man. You've got lots going on, so you get a pass.
Thank you.
We've got lots going on, and something coming up on the horizon is the Kern Energy Summit. So this is an annual event. How many years has this been going on now?
18 years. Actually,
awesome.
My first week on the job was the inaugural Energy Summit, and our keynote speaker was Ed Begley Jr., if you remember him.
Oh, I remember that. Wow. So you must have a really good team that surrounds you.
Yes, I just got on stage. It was
There
my
you
first
go.
week. But we did, we went from about 100 to 200 people to over 400. So my understanding it's the largest energy summit on the West Coast. So we're really proud of this annual event that showcases our incredible energy diversity.
And you should be. It sells out every year, correct?
Yes, the last few years.
And so this year it's October 24th at the Bakersfield Marriott at the Convention Center over on Truxton. So we look forward. I know Tajby is going to have a contingent.
Thank you for your sponsorship too.
You're welcome.
Very excited.
Yeah, and we have renewables and all kinds of different things, oil and gas, of course. But we support all the industries, and so we're here to support Kern County in any way we can.
It's about the energy evolution, right? Those words that
Energy
we use.
evolution. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the theme this year?
We've used the background theme is really about powering California's future in terms of the energy, what we do for the state. We're, number one oil and gas county in the state, 15th nationally. We can chat about that ranking. And then we are the number one renewable energy county in the country.
I know there are a lot of details behind energy production, energy, delivery, and those sorts of things. And we had interviewed Congressman Vince Fong earlier, and not to be naive, of course, but there's lots going on to energy, but you need energy to make the world go round.
Yeah.
Right. And a balanced portfolio is the key. And I don't know why the state of California has made it overcomplicated.
Right. Energy independence growing up in the 80s, it was not political. We all believed that we should have the, local production, right? Why should we be dependent on other countries? And there's that economic security that goes along with energy independence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think, Greg, as you were saying, just as despite how difficult the state is making things out to be for these energy production companies, there still are so many new industries and organizations that are coming to Kern County and will be featured at the summit and share the new exciting technologies and processes that they are bringing to the industry as a whole. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect?
I mean, we are an incubator. Think about the incubator for the energy of the future. That's happening in Kern County. So what you're going to see is this wonderful morning of collaboration, right? All types of energy working together, public, private sector. Actually, you'll have significant discussion on carbon capture and sequestration, and the keynote conversation we call at the end will be Lorelei Oviatt will be have a fireside chat. Of course, Lorelei Oviatt, planning director of community natural resources with the county, and she'll be interviewing Francisco Leon, who's the president and CEO of the CRC, and then Alan Pitts, vice president of Chevron San Joaquin Valley unit. So the main thrust of this is, well, hey, we've brought people in from outside to talk about energy diversity, independence, but why not have the leading companies, some of the leading companies in the region, if not state, country, talking about the future of energy in Kern County. So,
will you be recording this? I don't want to jump way ahead, but recording it so that people can watch it later? Maybe.
Yes.
Hint, state of California.
Yes, we would love if folks, many representatives from Sacramento did attend, but we will have that. Yes, there will be videos that will be pushed out separate. Actually, we'll segment the various presentations.
And then I think locally, I think the residents of Kern County in this region need to maybe understand better how energy is produced and delivered, like I said earlier, and how it matters to the economy of Kern and beyond.
Right. I mean, without Kern County, where we're 70%, right, of the state's renewable energy by one factor, 70% oil and gas for the state, 60% renewable energy. So what happened if Kern County wasn't able to permit these, working with CEQA, we set the bar pretty high. We have the gold standard. And again, actually early in the week, you'll have a CCNS project moving through pending board approval on the Monday, right before the Energy Summit.
Very interesting.
The TerraVault, right.
I wonder too, if we talk about the being energy efficient and what that used to mean and what it sort of doesn't mean anymore. I just kind of wonder how the global happenings start bringing that conversation up again. I saw something the other day where some of the countries we're importing from, they're actually getting their oil stolen off pipelines, put in these plastic bags. There's really no other way to put it. And then that oil is being sold on a black market and then funding terrorist organizations. I mean, it's just, and these are the companies these countries we're importing from because we're not allowing it. So I just wonder, as things happen globally, will that conversation come back up? And then is it, however, too far gone here to be energy independent because we've shuttered so many refineries and, go on down the list?
Well, you hit on it. It's the supply and demand. Well, we know demand has increased the last 3 years. However, our supply has shifted to primarily California to primarily for foreign countries. And looking at the first 6 months of this year, we had a record, not one to be proud of, but over 60% of our supply now to California comes from foreign countries.
So the demand is not going down.
Right.
We're just shifting on where we receive or purchase our oil from.
Yes. So, for instance, you have countries like Ecuador, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq, Guyana. And I would love folks to do the deep dive. It actually doesn't take more than a few minutes. Look at the human rights records and environmental rights records of these countries that we're now getting our oil from versus look at California's human rights and environmental rights record, probably much greater than even the United States. So why are we preferring demanding oil from these countries versus local production? We have billions of barrels actually in California ready to be tapped.
And there was a study put out a couple weeks back. It was a global projection of fossil fuel usage for the next 20 years. And there's no decline in fossil fuel usage until probably like 2040, 2045. Right. Not necessarily, and they did factor in, look, yes, some vehicles are switching away from fossil fuels. However, advanced manufacturing in general, still all requires fossil fuels. And so as those sectors expand, the demand for oil is going to be just as high as it's ever been. And they really didn't see any decline until about 2045 on the global usage of oil.
Well, as you hit on it, petroleum is not just used in vehicles, right? It's used in wind turbines, solar panels, medical devices. And so people need to realize that demand will continue to increase. And again, we have the strictest regs in the world to drill in Kern County. So why would that be political?
It just seems like, on one hand, we're highly hypocritical, and on the other hand, we're not using any common sense. And, I think just moving forward together, working collaboratively, which seems to have gone out the window several years ago. I'm not sure why, but it seems like there could be a better balance than there is now.
Well, we talk about balance, right? Because we are not paying lip service to the renewable energy side. We have, 20,000 megawatts, both in the ground or permitted. And so that's far and away top in the country. Mm-hmm. So we embrace, good energy jobs. Mm-hmm. But why, oil and gas, we know, look at the data. I mean, 17 out of the top 20 taxpayers in this county are energy companies, oil and gas companies. So what happens when that does go away? Is there a replacement? And it's hard to find, jobs that pay almost $100,000, maybe a high school degree, 2-year degree. Mm-hmm. That is, I guess, the what folks are many demanding for. But we're very grateful that we have these the oil and gas industry. The
beautiful part about Kern County too is the ability to kind of diversify that portfolio. I know a couple years back at the Energy Summit, I think it was Taft Mayor Dave Noor who pointed out, he's an oil guy, but he said, look, we all need each other, and oil maybe slowly transitions. It's a slow transition. It's not just stop production today and everything's going to be electric and powered. We all need each other. And so I think we've definitely, as a county in the area, because of the resources we have been able to pivot and figure out new technologies. And wind's been around for a long time.
Right.
Solar's finally building up to a larger scale, but you've got the carbon capture you pointed out on the west side of the county, and then you look on the east side, and we've got projects like HydroStore that are working through the Energy Commission to get permitted. And another way to, and I think you might have brought something up similar 4 or 5 years ago to Energy Summit about a potential hydrogen project, and now here is one coming in, a multinational company that says, hey, East Kern is where we want to drill this big hole basically and turn that stuff into power and store energy for the future.
Right, and they'll be showcased at the event, HydroStore. It's a $1.5 billion project, and there will be a couple of years of 700 jobs, and then when it's completed, I believe 25 to 50 full-time jobs. But also in terms of the tax revenue, that's the thing about oil and gas. What are the industries that come in, have significant capital investment, but also there is a significant amount going to fund roads and education and like. We have Pacific Steel, almost a net zero project in Mojave that should break ground this year. And then we have in Mojave, the world's largest, one of the world's largest battery energy solar storage systems. Terragen has the largest down the road. So you got AES, you got Terragen, all in Kern County.
And what it only takes the one to start. I mean, the wind industry is a perfect example. Somebody in the 1970s, had this crazy idea to throw these turbines on this very windy pass, and look what that turned into. Right, it just took one. Same with solar. It just took one to build that facility in East Kern, and everyone else realized, oh yeah, we have an abundance of land and sun out here. Great opportunity. I think probably the same thing is going to hold true with the hydrogen projects. I think because of just the geography of the area, it's very favorable to these types of projects, and I think if one comes in is successful, you will probably see others follow suit. And that's energy as a whole, right? One guy hits oil, everybody else goes and drills for oil.
That evolution.
So I think you'll see that evolution continue to expand on the renewable side in conjunction with the continued production of oil and gas.
You need to nurture those industries. It's just like the aerospace industry. Mojave Spaceport, under Dan Sabovich's leadership back in the day in the 70s, it just took one, and now look what's going on.
100 companies, 3,000
you need
employees.
to nurture all of the industries and support them so that there is a good balance.
Right, and I would say these are all STEM jobs, great STEM jobs that maybe you have PhDs, but you also have high school grads. You have 2 to 4 year, in terms of that post-secondary education as well.
So back to the agenda for the Kern Energy Summit, Maya. So we have, obviously, Richard, you're going to opening remarks. We talked about Lorelei Oviatt. She's the director of Kern County Planning and Natural Resources, fireside chat with CRC. But then we move on to the renewable energy projects in the Kern area. So let's talk about that makeup, that group of people, and what they're going to be talking about.
Right. We have an exciting a blend of technologies and projects. Newell, if you know, they moved from Texas to Kern County, and they actually, idle wells, they create energy storage within these wells. So again, that's part of this collaboration,
okay.
Right. And so that's a very small startup company. Of course, HydroStore's back again to give an update as they move. There is the hope that project will break ground next year, maybe first or second quarter. That's in the Rosemont area. We have SoCal Gas talking. They have the Angeles link in terms of hydrogen, that project, and as it impacts, Kern County. And then Kern Energy, which celebrates their 90th anniversary this year, talking about renewable and natural gas. So all types of energy in the renewable energy realm. That will be a morning discussion.
That's awesome. And then a little after that, the Energy Industry Interactive Presentation. What is that? Right.
That's the very highly acclaimed with Menometer. So there are prizes, and we are asking questions about what the audience knows about.
Oh, it's the game where you have to play quick. You have to answer correctly.
Yes. That's another way of saying it, the game.
The game.
You have little cute icons. People, I'm not allowed to participate because I know the answers to the question.
Last year I actually got on the board, but then towards the end I dropped right off.
I think there was a question about the allowed height of the turbine, right?
Yeah, I'm
the
not
wind
sure.
turbine.
So what are the questions this year?
Well, we'll be working on those.
Maybe these energy impact sheets might be cheat sheets for that. I'm just thinking.
Yes. Yeah.
Read the market overview.
There you go.
I mean, there'll be, of course, all types of energy, and so that's exciting. That a lot of enthusiasm for that. And then we have a new conversation. Actually, kudos to Jim Damian, county's chief economic development officer, said, "What about this topic?" And Corey and the city has been saying, "How do we? We want to be what we bring to the table. I think deserves that." Part of that part of recognition. So, Corey, tell me about that panel discussion, since you're one of the esteemed.
Esteemed is a very generous word. That's for sure.
The pressure's on now.
So really,
you have to perform.
When it comes to AI, and this segment is AI energizers powering the future. Really, the basis is centered around solving problems with AI, which we've done in the city on a variety of areas now. Really, kind of started in economic development, and I always say you can use your AI information for offense or defense.
Right.
And this one really kind of stemmed from kind of a defensive position where there were some statements made, or one statement made at a candidate forum for District 2 supervisor, where someone said, well, the renewable energy doesn't do much here in East Kern, and I'm going to bring real economic impact. And it couldn't have been more ignorant. And so I thought, well, I can disprove that with AI. It's very easy to do. And so one of the problems that I'm kind of discussing is the conversation I've had with various renewable companies around the area. Hey, what do you guys, what's your workforce like? What's your traveling workforce like? We've pulled up numbers and data to see the non-resident folks coming to our hotels. Well, there's each company on average is bringing in 20 people a month for something or the other, whether they're an auditor, they're a contractor. Right. Then they have contracts with companies in the city, your Vestas, your Pierce Renewables here in the city limits, that are doing maintenance work on these projects in East Kern and in the Mojave area. So to really and you can quantify some of that from a direct impact, and that's just on what they're spending at a hotel for a hotel room. But then we look at, like, they're all given $100 a day or whatever it is in per diem. They're spending that at a local restaurant, who then turns around and pays their employee, who then comes around and spends that money. So the impact is huge there. And there's a few other examples as far as problem solving with AI that we'll be sharing, and some of the other panelists have some pretty good versions as well.
Well, I know you've been on the Tehachapi, and kudos to the city on leading edge of that granular type data with was it Placer AI, and showing the money that comes into the county and this region, and then those folks, that's new money because they don't live here, but they spend money. That's so important as we look at industries and engage the multiplier effect, and understanding it's not just on-site jobs, but as money spent in restaurants and et cetera.
And there's a lot of efficiencies too, and I'm sure the folks, I know AES is also on the panel, is going to be talking about their robot that basically puts in the panels based on the best alignment with the sun and all that. And then even that technologies, they're basing that out of Mojave, and so someone's going to have, there's still a human behind that to program and maintain. And those folks most likely are living in the Tehachapi area, but just using some of the AI for efficiencies. We've used it in the past on designing projects, and I'll show the example. But we've when Chipotle was built next to Starbucks here in Tehachapi, there was a problem in that parking lot with just flow, and we were able to use an in-center heat map to see the pinch points. And with the developer, as part of the condition of the project, moved a couple trash enclosures around, which eliminated some of the pinch points, and now there is no issues in that parking lot because we're able to kind of see the path of vehicle travel and then make an adjustment. So we've been able to do that, and then apart from that, we've got sprinkler folks and landscape folks that are using AI to make our water usage more efficient, and the police have some tools they're using now as well. So there's a lot of efficiencies that are built in by understanding the data, and then again, letting AI kind of do the complicated math that I certainly can't do, and come up with results in your best practice.
Well, we've used AI in our, Corey mentioned water. We've saved 27 acre feet last year with AI data alone in the city of Tehachapi. And we're a small city, and 27 acre feet is a lot of water, and that's a lot of money, and that water can be now used somewhere else. Yeah. So we're really proud of our technology that we have embraced at the city to help across the board.
with the wineries, right, you're able to track folks coming from Vegas, maybe live in Fresno. So what is you think the percentage of people that are visiting the wineries?
We
local?
see, most of those are for the most part out of town, and they're pretty close. They're usually Bakersfield, Antelope Valley travelers. But what we've been able to find, we do have Stray Leaves, the tasting room in downtown, but most of the tasting rooms are in the unincorporated areas. But because the data does show you kind of pre and post visits, you can tell, well, they may have gone out to, they're from Bakersfield, they may have gone out to Tehachapi Winery, for example, but after Tehachapi Winery, they stopped and got gas at Love's or Flying J, or go down the list. That they spend some money in the city as they get in and out. So there's a big economic impact, and more we're seeing people taking longer trips as that winery list expands, and we've got more and more reasons to spend 2 days in Tehachapi enjoying the AVA. You can see that data. There's more overnight stays being developed.
The money sticks, and then that encourages new investment.
And then they come back. I mean, that's the other part. They have a great time. They come back, they realize it's an easy trip. We did recently be able to pull data on those kind of overnight stays in the last year, and I helped this as part of the presentation with the Chamber of Commerce with targeted marketing. But you could target what zip codes we're visiting here, and or at least the MSAs. And so LA, Orange County, and the Inland Empire are big on overnight stays in this area. And this is the same kind of data I pulled for the renewable industry to see, hey, we have a lot of folks from Salt Lake City and Virginia. Well, that's AES's headquarters, or Clearway Energy. Their headquarters are here, and we're seeing a lot of folks coming in. So you can kind of use that to determine the impact of really anything.
And there are different colors of money. We have the local money, we have the regional money, we have the national money, and they require different levels of service, right? And that money coming into our coffers is helping us fund fire, police, public safety, our public works, and all those things that this city and this community enjoy. Yeah. And so we understand there's different colors of money.
Yeah, and we see in terms of overall tax revenue, renewables is about $6 to $7 billion a year, and obviously the wind. That money really sticks, as well as solar. But we have the nation's largest wind project, so it's good to provide that education. We never want subsectors of energy competing, right? Because we welcome all good cap investment, but it's great to show that the impact. We know oil and gas pretty well, that impact, but in terms of the renewable energy, that's really helpful with moving forward.
And the job multiplier effect as well. I mean, when I think people talk about jobs, they talk about the hard number of jobs. I mean, you said earlier, Hydro Store, when it's built, 25 to 50 permanent employees, and that's great. But however, that sector, the industrial, the energy sector, their job multiplier 3-4 times. So for every one job, 4 more jobs has to feed them, clothe them, house them, and provide public services as well. So you see the multiplier because they pay better, so they're spending more money, and so therefore the demand to kind of meet their needs is met by other jobs. So it really does speak to the true impact of the energy sector because they're big job multipliers in the area.
Right, and then after this particular the Powering the Future segment, we have keynote conversations with a couple of individuals. Maybe we could talk about that, Richard.
Right, and so again, just to clarify the beginning, Lorelei is going to give basically the future of energy, looking at trends, developments, near and long-term future. But then it will close the conversation with that discussion about the 2 companies that are really critical. Of course, Chevron, CRC, but we have others, that are part of that mix. Of course, Berry and other key energy companies, and then so they'll talk about. How does carbon capture sequestration? How is that? How will that impact Kern County?
That's an exciting technology that is really coming alive.
Yeah, and we're seeing we're as you mentioned multipliers. We're trying to wrap our arms around. Well, what would be the multipliers for these type of technologies? Also, in terms of tax revenue, job counts, because this again is the area that we are setting, the course for the future for these type. They still have to move through planning and planning commission and board of soups, but we're excited about what 2025 holds. But also understanding what is the elevator speech, right? I know the elevator speech for oil and gas, for renewable, but we need to have that elevator speech for carbon capture and sequestration, because there are some groups that are opposed to that, and we need to make sure we communicate the science as well as the economic impact of these types of technology.
Education is key. We don't want people
Right.
filling in the blanks with nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the AI data can actually probably counteract your nonsense these days with hard numbers and facts and figures.
Yeah, and just we have the world leaders in energy that are the architects of these projects. This is not some startup company that says, "Hey, I want to do carbon capture." No, these are the internationally known Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 or 10 companies.
And people with money
Yeah.
don't typically invest in losing propositions, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
The technology is proven. They know what they're doing, and they expect a return.
Great point. Right. It has to pencil out. We have a lot of renewable energy companies, dozen plus that are, we're working with, but let's just say many of those may not make it to the, what do you call finish line, right?
Sure.
What the football analogy would be. The
goal
line.
If
I'm
the
a
goal's
Dolphins.
there, like Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
they take it down and
That's
throw
right.
it
Throw it in the river.
throw it in the river.
I'm a
But,
Dolphins fan. We don't have many touchdowns. Field goal.
I forgot
Field
what the goal end zone was called. I haven't been there in so long.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Did they just take it down?
Yeah. It's just not pretty. But yeah, this is the thing. What is the litmus test, right? Because our litmus test for projects is their capital investment, jobs, and tax revenue. There was a lot of money coming, especially from the federal level for renewable energy projects. But the beauty of like a hydro store is they've secured $300 to $400 million of Wall Street, right? Wall Street money. You have to have that mix to be successful, in my opinion. You have maybe some federal funding. Natural Cement has up to $500 million for their net zero projects already an existing operation. So that net zero will create many jobs. But what about these companies that have not broken ground? So we're always very vigilant in vetting these out and seeing will they have the ability, the stamina, the funding, right, to get to that level. And that's why we typically showcase technologies that we believe pretty confident have that funding and reliability, degree of certainty to be successful.
I think it would be hard to find another county in the nation, let alone the state, but in the nation that has obviously we've been doing what we're doing as far as the aerospace industry for decades, and what Edwards Air Force Base does and flight testing and everything you see in the military at some point has been flight tested at Edwards Air Force Base. Same with space. But doing that in the aerospace defense thing for years. And then now energy, we're into that sector now as far as we're testing kind of these new futures because we have the land, we have the planning capabilities, we have the workforce, and we're working on more workforce. But it'd be hard to find another county, probably the nation, that's doing all those things and is testing, whether it be in the air or in the ground. We're probably the only county in the country that's doing this.
I wish we got more, appreciation, right, for what we do. In terms of the energy realm, you said aerospace. I mean, we're number 4 in STEM jobs in the country. We're the 3rd most diverse economy in the country, Kern County.
Yeah.
So where else would we all want to be practicing economic development? Because typically the public and private sector work in tandem to support these. You're not getting that type of collaboration, coordination in one county, right, to the south. So that's the thing. I always say, we should be at the head table when the state discusses energy policy, not at the children's table, but at the adults' table at the head. We are the leader, both in renewable and oil and gas.
Well, I mean,
Well
I was at the recent B3K, the Aerospace Defense Cluster meeting down in Palmdale, and one of the gentlemen, he was the maintenance. I want to say he was a lieutenant. I could get that wrong, but for Edwards Air Force Base, and he kind of made the joke, right? Being the maintenance guy, saying the joke in the Air Force is if it's in the air, maintenance, put it there, right? And I thought to myself, well, that extends into Kern County. I mean, if it's on the ground or in the air, like Kern County put it there, because whether it's being powered by or tested for the technology of which it came from, Kern County had a hand in that, and everybody living in Tehachapi and so forth had a hand in that. Every time I see something happen in SpaceX or whatever, I always think my neighbor probably designed a piece of that. You know, the guy that I met at West Lane for a beer over the weekend was just doing that engine on the rocket. It's crazy to imagine.
Was that Colonel Brown or?
It was, yes. What an amazing person. I want to get him on the podcast.
I know.
He was so great. I mean, his intro was amazing. I was telling these guys, he stood up and said, you know, I'm Colonel Brown, and I'm so excited to be here with the greatest people in the greatest country. And I mean, he went on for like 2 minutes, and everybody said, how do you follow that intro? Like,
you
were
don't
like,
want
I'm
to
ready to
follow
enlist
him.
in the Air Force right now, man. Like, you inspired me. It was fantastic.
You do not want to follow. Well, that's the point. Like, we have on our website, the homepage, you know, all these stats about East Kern, right? In terms of the first space shuttle landing, in terms of obviously Edwards, Mojave, first inland commercial port. Then you go to NASA, right? Flight in terms of breaking the speed band. And then Ridgecrest, China Lake, about 50 of the world's first came from there. Glow stick, GPS, right? As well as, other airbags.
Yeah.
So, but we are very modest here, and that's the thing that, you all are great ambassadors for your region, Tehachapi. How do we make sure that our residents know this, and we should all be proud beating our chest, right? Yeah. What does Kern County do? Well, we say power, defend, and feed the world, right? We're the #1 county in the country for agriculture.
Sure.
So again, we just work hard and do our job, but at a certain point, hopefully we get the acclaim that I believe we deserve, not just from the state, but nationally.
Yeah,
we'll
I think
continue doing what we do.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
No, marketing's a part of that. I think I'd presented to a couple economic development organizations a few years ago, and it was met with mixed results because statewide oil is bad. And I thought, where is we need to have buttons at conferences to say oil still matters, that sort of thing, and make people stop, and because it's so contrary to what the state says, but it does, and that sort of thing. And so I think, a lot of that's marketing, how we do a better job of showcasing that.
Well, and it's interesting because we have folks from around the country, reporters, PhD students studying the evolution. Yeah. And some of them, if they come for a couple of days or weeks, that's great, because I want somebody to come and see what Kern County is doing versus just flying in. I always say we're a flyover state within a state. No, come to the county and look what's happening in communities like Tehachapi, throughout, and see the innovation, just the upward mobility, right? Because we're one of the top places for upward mobility because of these jobs.
Yeah, we don't need to be a flyover county in the state anymore, because Meadows Field is amazing now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, really, every time I go somewhere, American Airlines, United, it's so easy to fly in and out of Meadows, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about all these energy sectors, they fly in and out. It's all the pieces of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've lost a couple of years of my life going to LAX.
Right.
My stress level.
So you don't have to be stressed anymore. Just fly in and out of Meadows. It's so easy. You park at the front door.
Well, I think to what Kern, and this, again, like you said, Richard, like people, we just kind of do our jobs. But you look across the Midwest, in smaller towns and smaller communities that their industry died. Textile mills closed, and it was it. And then roll up the carpets, and now they're just a little map on a little dot on a map, and no one's there anymore, because that was it. All they had were textiles, and all they had was maybe farming. And then when it went away, they went away. But we've always, one thing goes away, we're figuring out the next thing, how to make that work. And so we are blessed because of the diversity of the economy to have other areas to focus on. And then beyond that, leading edge of the next piece of technology, whether it's aerospace, even farming, agritourism is now becoming a thing. Agritourism as more and more people discover the country way of living, so to speak, they love agritourism. That's becoming a thing as well. So we're on that cutting edge, which helps us stay vibrant and then successful long term.
Well, live, work, and play. And people should come to your monthly Greater Tehachapi EDC and see that enthusiasm across, both public, private sector, nonprofits. And so that's what people are thirsting for, right? Mm-hmm. This type of environment. But also having the jobs, the quality jobs nearby, which you all do. You're kind of this epicenter. You have all these economic engines that you tie into, and that's the great thing about the AI component is showing, where people live, work, and play and spend money.
Yeah. And that helps us turn around and deliver those services, whether it's hiring more police officers, paving more roads, that sort of thing. Really, and a lot of it coming from the people that are making deposits and then they're leaving, but then they're coming back and making more deposits, allows us to do more.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited about this morning. Again, we're not over 2 to 3 days, but we think it's a very dense and action-packed type, content-rich morning. And so, I'm really proud of our team. We have a summit planning committee and 30 plus sponsors, including City of Tehachapi. And again, it's a celebration, right? It's there's not inflammatory conversation, but it's, again, that celebration of innovation and coordination.
And to inform and educate people. And I know, Maya, you're going to be there with a camera and a microphone and maybe allow, get some interviews with Richard and others so that we can continue to help promote the entire county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And having gone to this event in years past, it really is mind-boggling. I mean, I'm not somebody that is in the realm of industry, energy industry, obviously, but as somebody that kind of looks at it as, well, I pay my utilities and I see the turbines on the hill. How does energy impact me?
Yeah.
As we've just discussed, there are so many facets that it really does impact each and every person, especially here in Tehachapi, being on the forefront of all the crazy technologies going on out there in East Kern. So,
and it's an economic development tool for us as well when it comes to site selectors and someone's looking to considering building a new hotel. Obviously, tourism is going to play a fact in the hotel stays, but who's going to stay there? And when they realize that, well, we've got 5, 6, 7 pretty big renewable energy companies who are bringing in 20 plus people a month to stay on average of 2 nights, they're all about heads and beds.
Yep.
And so they do that quick math and go, oh yeah, this is going to pencil. Then we add the tourism and that sort of thing is just a cherry on top, but we're able to keep going during the slow time of the week, the Monday through Thursday, and then weekends take care of themselves.
Well, we have a challenge and opportunity here. We don't have a business journal in our region, so Fresno has a weekly 30-page. And so it really behooves us, which I know you all do a great job of telling the story of business, beyond business, but, residents and businesses and a vibrant, ecosystem. But, we're proud to help tell the story about our energy industry because we don't have this weekly and where somebody can Google and read about the amazing startups in Kern County, existing as well as emerging industries. And so it makes our job, I guess it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity, which this podcast is a perfect way of telling a story. We use LinkedIn, our e-newsletter, but we need to keep, because never assume that your neighbor knows what's happening here in terms of our economic vitality and diversity.
Yeah, and the diversity has been critical for decades and decades. I mean, I've told this story before, but going to the old city archives, I found articles from the Great Depression saying how well Tehachapi's economy did in the Depression because it was diversified.
Okay.
And that was when ag was a huge part, but we still had other industries around and the diversity, although they've changed, but that was a big part of it, and it continues today when just these more futuristic, sectors that are around us.
Well, we guided ourselves through the recession, and then we guided ourselves through COVID. And so many communities around us failed. And, we don't want them to fail. We need them to be healthy. People come to the city of Tehachapi. Sometimes it works for us. Sometimes it doesn't. But we help guide them to where they need to be.
I think, there was a discussion about essential jobs. And so moving into COVID, I look like we were one of the best places. So about 67% of our jobs were considered essential. So think about it: government, aerospace,
utilities,
energy,
medical,
logistics, healthcare, ag, and across the board. And so again, that's the thing about how are you immune to the ups and downs. Maybe one sector is declining, but you have 3 or 4 others that bolster that.
I don't think Hollywood has recovered yet from COVID.
No, there's shuttered studios
have moved completely out of state, sometimes out of country.
No, it's becoming an issue. There are shuttered studios, and more so with tax benefits in places like Georgia and whatnot with the way they film. But Hollywood has struggled.
We're importing too many things still. You talk about oil and gas being imported, but microchips, all those certain things. The world economy, the world politics. We're on the verge of something. Seems like every moment of every day, and we're importing all of these essentials. And if we could build more of them in Kern County, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, where the logistics, advanced manufacturing, you name it, and that's the beauty of our economy. Is that we have we have the elements for sustainability that I don't see in a lot of counties West Coast throughout the country.
Yeah, and other counties are trying to recruit that stuff to them. Other states are trying to recruit that to them, and we already have it here. It's just a matter of fostering that and make sure it expands here. And retention, which I know you've dealt with a lot. I feel more and more like the young people are starting to consider sticking around. Right, yeah. I was in a meeting in Tehachapi High School in the Career Technical Education group, and the programs that they have dealing with engineering and renewables and all this stuff down the line, I was blown away. Like, I was considering taking like wood shop in high school, and now these kids are taking advanced engineering classes and aerospace and all kinds of stuff, and forest management, you name it. They've got all these options for the industries around us, and they're working very well with Saracoso Community College too. And so I'm excited about the potential of these kids sticking around, and not because that's where the jobs are at. They're not going to leave to go work, in renewable energy somewhere else for the most part, because a lot of it's happening here.
Well, and we talk about the Z generation, they're motivated by lifestyle, not career. So if you keep saying, hey, you needed this career, they kind of shut you down. But if you say, okay, what lifestyle would you like?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to have your own house, your pool. Well, where can you have that ability? With the STEM job in Kern, you can. And, shout out to the Kern County Superintendent of Schools on November 7th. They have their East Kern Career Expo in Mojave at Stu Witt Center. So that's great having just down the road from you all, over 1,000 kids seeing the opportunities. Because business, we need to promote to these students what options they have. Otherwise, it'll be too late if they have their diploma or what have you. They're envisioning living on the beach, right, in LA, where they might be with 6 people and working 3 jobs, have that lifestyle.
That's honestly why I moved back to Kern County out of college in San Diego. Loved it there, but then I'm like, I'm living with 5 other people. Right. I don't want to live with 5 other people anymore. Like, I'm going back home where I can live by myself. And that was a motivator, to get out, because it's nice, but the reality is it doesn't work. And now with the career sectors we have available, there's so many opportunities out there for younger folks.
And these employers, the high level STEM jobs are unfilled. So it's much easier to have talent retention is easier, right? Hopefully, than attraction. And so if these kids, you can write the career pathways, you guide them, they can sink right into these upper to mid-level STEM jobs that are sitting vacant as we speak.
And the education world has changed slightly too, to where, yes, there's still a place for the 4-year university right out of high school. I'm going to the 4-year, but so many now these job training programs will say, hey, get on with us right out of high school. We'll pay for your night classes at Saracoso. We'll get you trained up as you make money and you get experience, and then you're trained and you're educated, and then you can go wherever you'd like at that point, or stick with us for even more upward mobility. So the fact that they're seeing that, they're incorporating the education piece into that now is important, and they're just kind of changing the way we think about college.
Well, internships, and as you know, we won our foundation. We won an international EDC award as well as CalEd for our internship called Kern Interconnections, where these students right out of high school had plugged them into mainly local manufacturers for paid internships, 8 weeks. A majority of them were offered full-time jobs after an 8 weeks, so they can decide, do I go back, can I go back to school as well as work, or maybe I just start today? So what better to give them that opportunity? And so again, paid internships, in my opinion, are the and we've seen the data, number one attribute that employers are looking for.
Kern County is full of endless opportunities.
Boundless opportunities for business.
There you go. Somebody coined that, I guess.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to the Energy Summit. It's only 4 hours. You're packing in a lot, that's for sure. But literally, Kern, we've talked about oil, gas, ag, renewables, mining, aerospace. We're very blessed.
Yes.
And we continue to push the envelope to be better at what we do so that we can feed, fuel, and what was the other piece?
Protect,
the world. And so super excited
Future's so bright, you got to wear shades, right?
There you go. Corey Hart.
Okay, was it Corey Hart?
I think so. Yeah.
Maya's looking, who's the glazed over look. She's like, I have no idea. These older gentlemen are talking about.
The 80s defined us. Just saying. The 80s defined us.
Yeah, I know. So it's October 24th. Guess I better get prepared, huh? At the
don't make us
Marriott,
look bad, Corey.
at the convention center. Yeah, I'll just wing it. It works out better that way. It's like a
no.
podcast.
Oh, no.
No, we're prepared. Don't worry. And so excited on that. And you have a few tickets available.
We do. I think we're a couple dozen available at kernec.com. And
I only play sold out rooms.
Okay,
I'm just saying, if it ain't sold out, you're gonna scratch me out there.
we did see an uptick when you were announced on
there
the
you go.
marquee.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Greg. He bought 2 tables, I think, probably.
We got groupies, I hear, and we'll be there staying overnight.
Yeah, right.
Well,
It's going to be a
fantastic.
great event.
Yeah.
Anything else in closing?
I think we hit.
I think we did, Richard. Thank you for coming up
Absolutely.
today.
Yes,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
you driving up the hill.
I always
and
love it.
doing this in person.
It's beautiful up here. Thanks for all you do for our region.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely. Well, if anybody's listening has any questions or comments on this topic or really anything, you can email us media@tehachapiecityhall.com and we will get that addressed. Maybe send it out to Richard for him to answer. But as always, guys, thanks so much for your time, and everybody listening in, thanks for listening. And we'll catch you back here next time on Tatch Pod.